Dead Island 2 is full of Easter eggs, from references to horror movies and their directors, to online urban legends and internet superstars.
I'm Amanda Styles, LA's top trending girl in the juicy flesh.
Dambuster Studios have packed an absolute ton of secrets and references in Dead Island 2, and for those wanting to dive beneath the surface and seek them out, there's plenty to find, and I have never said otherwise. Today I've brought together everything I have on Dead Island 2, from Easter eggs I found during my playthrough to those left in the comments by my wonderful community. Today we're going to be taking a look at what is hopefully every single Easter egg in Dead Island 2. And just a small caveat before we begin, to avoid any major spoilers, I won't be including any Easter eggs that are seen exclusively during story missions, such as lines of dialogue for example. And without further ado, let's get into the Easter eggs.
And I'm Sam B. You know, who do you voodoo, bitch?
One of the first Easter eggs you're likely to encounter is only small, but it's a classic when it comes to Easter egg hunting. In various locations, you'll be able to find mugs adorned with the Dambuster Studios logo. Of course, Dambuster Studios are the developers behind Dead Island 2, and this is a lovely, subtle homage to all of their hard work. These mugs can be a little tricky to find, but keep an eye out and you may just spot one for yourself. Speaking of Dambuster Studios, they've also hidden a couple of references to their previous projects in the game. The first time you'll be able to spot these is as you explore the mansions in the Bel Air district. Those of us terminally online will no doubt be familiar with what's going on at the Goat Pen. This mansion in Bel Air is full of film sets. From simple setups likely used for vlogging to more elaborate sets like this beach scene. There are podcast sets and gaming setups. Little Shit is clearly some kind of unboxing show, and there's even an area for makeup tutorials. There's an area set up for challenge videos in the back garden, and the walls are covered in Dead Island 2's version of the YouTube play button. Perhaps the funniest thing of all is the stereotypically terrible apology video script, which even includes the line, "Cry for sympathy."
When my videos of flying zombie guts go viral, they'll be racing to send it to choppers to save our butts from LA.
Alright, I'll kill some zombies for your video. Just make sure I don't turn into a fucking meme, okay?
Despite all of this, the most interesting thing to find in the Goat Pen is actually in the games room on the lowest level of the mansion. Towards the back are a collection of arcade cabinets, two of which you will likely recognise. Homefront: The Revolution was a 2016 game also developed by Dambuster Studios and published by Deep Silver. Beside it, we can find an arcade cabinet for Timesplitters. While Timesplitters was developed by Free Radical Design and not Dambusters, Dambuster Studios is owned by Koch Media, who also happen to own the rights to Timesplitters. To tie these two together even further, you may remember an Easter egg in Homefront: The Revolution actually allowed you to find a Timesplitters arcade cabinet which was fully playable and remastered. Later in the game, once you've made your way to the pier, these cabinets appear once again inside the arcade. This time though, they'll actually be powered on, but sadly still not playable. We can, however, interact with the Homefront cabinet.
Oh, cool. I used to love arcades. They better have a Timesplitters machine. Oh, I gotta get the power on.
I really love to see developers including references to their previous games in their new ones, especially with a game like Timesplitters that's really close to my heart. Before we continue, there's actually one more arcade cabinet we're going to have a look at. The Dripper arcade cabinets seen here in the Goat Pen is a reference to a very similar game called Tapper, where you also play as a barman serving drinks to thirsty punters. Before we continue, I just wanted to take a quick moment to thank all of you for watching, and if you're enjoying this video, don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell. I create new gaming and Easter egg content every single week and would love for you to join our community. Easily one of the creepiest Easter eggs in Dead Island 2 comes courtesy of the burst of variants. If you spend some time with these guys, you'll notice that they might not be as brain dead as you'd first think.
Help me! Hello! Hi! Hi,
If that last secret makes you uncomfortable, let's lighten the mood with something a bit funnier. Rose's tattoo shop on Venice Beach has tons of great tattoo designs. In particular, I love their Chinese characters, but make sure to translate them before getting inked, or you may just end up with a takeaway order for a tramp stamp. Quite a lot of Dead Island 2's Easter eggs reference movies. Most of those Easter eggs reference horror movies. Take, for example, the Easter egg that can be found in the wine cellar of the goat pen. Littered around the room, you can spot a number of wooden boxes of wine. Not very interesting alone, but the image on them is. Alfred Hitchcock fans will recognise this iconic house from his 1960 horror classic, Psycho. While we're on the topic, head over to Ocean Avenue, where you can find a street called W. Craven Way. A clear nod to horror director Wes Craven, creator of A Nightmare on Elm Street, Scream, and The Hills Have Eyes, just to name a few. And thanks to Real Humphrey Banana for pointing this out to me in the comments of the last video. In a similar vein, John Hayes in the comments pointed out that the Serling Hotel, found on Ocean Avenue, is also very likely a reference to Rod Serling, famed creator of the Twilight Zone. While we're here, the adjoining mall to the Serling Hotel definitely has some Dawn of the Dead vibes. Obviously, not just because they're two zombie-filled malls, but a few commenters in my last video mentioned that the music seems to be referencing the mall music in Dawn of the Dead. I can't play it here for copyright reasons, but after this video, go and check out The Gonk and see if you agree. Another Dawn of the Dead Easter egg, this time the 2004 movie, comes courtesy of Reed Niemer in last video's comments. This one can be found on a rooftop in Venice Beach. Here you can find a pair of binoculars and a note. The note seems to be a point system for killing very specific zombies. A similar situation to what is seen in Dawn of the Dead.
Yeah, Burt Reynolds. Tell him to get Burt Reynolds.
Stanley Kubrick's 1980 film The Shining is often referenced in video games. A quick example can be seen in Fallout 76, where you can find a recreation of the maze scene from the movie, as well as the ominous message "Red Rum" that appears in the film. Well, this very same Easter egg appears in Dead Island 2 on Venice Beach. As you explore the military encampment on the beach, keen-eyed players might have noticed the very same Red Rum message written on the large gates. The horror references even extend to the weapons you can find in Dead Island 2. In particular, the pool cue description references one of the best zombie movies ever, Shaun of the Dead.
Go to the Winchester, have a nice cold pint, and wait for all this to blow over. How's that for a slice of fried gold? Yeah, boy!
Not quite a horror reference this time, but another weapon, the crowbar, also has an Easter egg in its description, and I'm pretty sure you can guess what it's referencing. Thanks to Romalena for suggesting this next Easter egg. On Venice Beach, take a trip down the boardwalk, where near the end, you'll find the Curl Up and Dye Hair Salon. A salon of the very same name can be seen in the Blues Brothers movie. Going back a couple of Easter eggs for one moment, there's actually a second Shaun of the Dead Easter egg. Inside the Serling Hotel, on the notice board, is a newspaper clipping. This includes the headline, "Study finds dogs can look up." This is obviously a reference to the iconic debate seen in Shaun of the Dead.
But dogs can look up.
It's not all movie Easter eggs though, as we can also find a reference to another brilliant zombie game in Bel Air. If you come across the mail truck near the entrance to the goat pen, you can find a letter, which will initiate the side quest, "My Mailman Was a Zombie." The description for this quest reads, "Neither rain nor snow nor zombies will stop a good postal service worker from completing their rounds." A line that's very reminiscent of one heard in Dead Rising 2.
Neither rain, nor sleet, nor hail, nor zombies are going to keep me from my appointed rounds. I swore an oath, sir, and this package requires a signature!
While travelling through the sewers towards Venice Beach, you likely spotted the insane graffiti near the tunnel's exit. Whilst also being incredible, haunting works of art, one piece of this graffiti is actually an Easter egg. The Smile Room, created by Canadian horror artist Trevor Henderson, is an internet monster and urban legend. The similarities are pretty clear, so thanks to Yeyuishi in the comments for showing me this. Another recurring topic of Dead Island 2 Easter eggs are celebrities. In particular, famous creatives such as directors, composers, and even a few people a little closer to the game itself. Hollywood Boulevard in Dead Island 2 is a key location from the end of the game. It's very clear that just before the zombie apocalypse, the Romero Awards were in full swing. These awards are clearly a massive tribute to legendary horror director George A. Romero, who sadly passed away back in 2017 during development of Dead Island 2. Known primarily for his Living Dead series of movies, we've seen tributes to Romero in video games in the past, such as the incredible mural in Dying Light. It's really great to see Dead Island 2 also paying homage to the godfather of zombies. That's not all to be found in this area though, as the ground beneath our feet also holds its very own secret. The iconic Hollywood Walk of Fame makes an appearance, but rather than just random celebrities, Dead Island 2's Walk of Fame is a tribute to the voice acting cast of the game. From Sam Bee's actor Kevin Cornwall to Joseph May and Hannah Steele, who play Michael and Emma respectively. Voice actors in the gaming industry are often the unsung heroes of many of our favourite games, so hats off to Dan Buster Studios for giving them this tribute. Quickly going back to George Romero for a moment, the safe zone in Ocean Avenue is home to Argento's Sky Lounge. This restaurant is yet another tribute, this time to Dario Argento, the famed Italian film director known as the Master of Horror. Argento and Romero actually worked together on Dawn of the Dead, with Argento then adapting the movie to Italian audiences, thus birthing the zombie franchise of movies. Our next Easter egg is brought to us by Donnie Stokes, who pointed out that all of the pianos in Dead Island 2 feature the names Hisaishi and Ennio. These are references to two famous composers, Joe Hisaishi, most famous for his work with Studio Ghibli, and Ennio Morricone, composer for classic movies like The Good, the Bad and the Ugly and Once Upon a Time in the West. A few more of Dead Island 2's Easter eggs can be found in the achievements and challenges of the game. The achievement Max Headroom references the TV presenter of the same name, made infamous in 1987 when pirates using his image hijacked the airways in Chicago during an episode of Doctor Who. The achievements Hotel California and Down with the Sickness reference songs of the same name, and the achievement LA Influential is a play on the TV show LA Confidential. Another achievement, called Can't Handle the Truth, references the famous line from A Few Good Men. And finally, the last achievement, Git Gut, is referencing a very similar phrase, Get Good, from the Dark Souls community. In terms of the game's challenges, Repo Man references the movie of the same name, as does Staying Alive, although that's probably more the Bee Gees song rather than the movie. The Live Long and Prosper challenge is obviously a Star Trek reference, and the perks of being a zombie slayer is a reference to the perks of being a wallflower. Easily my favourite challenge Easter egg is the Not the Bees challenge, of course referencing Nicolas Cage's iconic line from The Wicker Man.
What is that? What is that? What is it? Oh, no, not the bees! Not the bees! Ah! Open my eyes! My eyes! Ah! Ah!
Well, we've just about covered all the major Easter eggs to be found in Dead Island 2. But there are still a ton of smaller Easter eggs and references left in the game. So, looks like it's time to bring back a classic. It's time for a lightning round. Monarch Studios and its logo are clearly inspired by MGM. The branding for Dead Island 2's Friends with Benefits looks an awful lot like the Friends TV show. The font and design of the Rise of Spider-God logo seems to be a homage to the Indiana Jones logo, and the Space Fox movie also appears to be a cross between Star Wars, Star Fox, and a little bit of Mass Effect thrown in there, with the leading lady being Sarah Shepard. Also, on the Space Fox posters, you can see a review from Robert Edgar. This may just be an anagram of legendary film critic Roger Ebert, give or take a few letters. Inside Monarch Studios, the set in Stage 5 is inspired by Mel Gibson's Apocalypto. As you leave Monarch Studios, a sign on the fence warns against gender reveal parties as they cause forest fires, an event that has occurred way too often in real life. On the pier, the font used for the Pier Stop Shop is very similar to Killer Clowns from Outer Space, a connection that makes perfect sense considering all the clown imagery in the area. Police cars across LA have an amusing message on their door. The standard Protect and Serve has aptly become Protect and Sever. Bean Cup Coffee's logo is very similar to Costa Coffee. The Eat delivery workers that you encounter look a lot like Deliveroo riders. Tortilla Chips has a similar logo and packaging to Doritos. This brand of beer is reminiscent of Stella Artois. And finally, the Cosmic Intruders pinball machine and arcade cabinet is a play on Space Invaders. Okay, I did say that was the final Easter egg, but there's one last detail I couldn't leave unmentioned. TomTom in the comments pointed out this rather unnerving image seen on the Ocean Avenue map. And there we have it. I really hope that was all the Easter eggs in Dead Island 2. We have covered so many at this point, I can't imagine there are very many left in the game that I haven't seen. That being said, as always, if I have missed something, please leave it in the comments below and I'll be sure to check it out. All that's left to say is thank you very much for watching. I do hope you enjoyed this video, and if you've made it this far, you know, I don't even know what to say. You're incredible.